What is that? Today, I've got a 2011 5.0 in that I'll be working on. It's got a couple issues. The owner said it burns coolant. He's been adding, I think every couple hundred miles, a gallon or two of coolant. And so I'm just here to try and figure out what's wrong with it. It's been burning quite a bit out the tailpipe. I can smell it. I've got to diagnose it, get the issue resolved. So I'm gonna start taking a look at it and try and figure out what's going wrong with it. The first thing that I normally like to do is just check the catch cans just to see if there's anything visible. So I see he did add one on one side right here. So I'm going to pull that off and just see if there's anything in here. What is that? Definitely some issue going on somewhere. It looks like there's oil in there, coolant. Not 100% sure what's going on there, but it's not good at all. That filter there doesn't look very good either. So I'm gonna go do a compression test on each cylinder and see what shows up there. This car supposedly does have a built motor in it. I'm not 100% sure until I start digging into it, but I'll find out soon enough. Well, this is not good. The first thing I see when going under the car is, number one, somebody welded the long tubes to the exhaust, which is not a good idea. You're supposed to get the flange on the end. Two, there is coolant running out of the exhaust, which is probably why it's smoking so much. This side's welded as well. There's no telling what else I'm gonna find, but that right there is a good sign of, I would assume, it's a head gasket leaking into a cylinder, and when you start it, it pushes out through the exhaust, or a cracked head. It's hard to tell until I just start doing some tests on it, but not a good sign at all. Everything back here looks okay, but I did not expect to see that right there, that coolant running out of the weld. You can see on the X-pipe here where the coolant has started seeping out through the exhaust clamps. There, right there. So that is not a good sign at all. Next thing I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna kind of drain the oil to see if I can see anything in here. I'm not sure if there'll be nothing to see here or not, but I'll find out soon enough. It's really off-colored. I'm actually gonna get me a separate container to catch some of this and figure out what is going on. There you can see it draining. It does look off-colored. It's got a really light color to it. I've got a container here that I filled with it that I'm gonna look at closer, but it doesn't look good at all. You can see it's still draining out. See that back side there? That looks to me like there's coolant in the oil. It's got a really bad mix. So this customer had actually just bought this car, and the owner told him everything's fine, everything looks good, and he's got a couple hundred miles on it, and he noticed a coolant loss. So I'm gonna have to go through and rebuild this motor. Still coming out, you see it? Got that really weird color. Definitely something mixing. Still slowly draining out. I can't tell if it's just really thick or what's making it just kind of stick up in there. Looks like there's something kind of plugging it maybe. It's been about 5 minutes and it just does not stop draining out of there. While you're waiting here watching this, take a guess in the comments what's wrong. And then we'll see later what it is and we'll see how many of you got it right. I've got this side catch can pulled off and you can tell there is definitely something going on in there. Does not look good at all. But I'm ready for that compression test now. So I'm going to be pulling the spark plugs out, doing a compression test, and seeing what's going on. I've got the coils and everything all taken out. Next thing I'm going to do is go ahead and pull the spark plugs out. Look down in there. And I also want to pull the valve covers off just to see what's going on underneath. I can't get to those bottom valve cover bolts way down there, so I've taken the battery out and I'm going to pull this tray out just so I have access to it. That made it a lot easier to reach, so looks like I may have a little oil leak going on down there. Not sure what's happening there. So I've got the valve cover off, and of course the previous owner told this new owner that it has head studs in it, you know, it's got built bottom in and all this work done to it. Well, if you look down there, them are definitely the weirdest looking head studs I've ever seen. Them appear to be completely stock bolts. So you can't always take someone's word for what they say is done to these motors. Have someone that knows these things check them out before you buy it. You can tell there's coolant mixing. Look at the oil right there, over here, and I will show you the valve cover on top. That's what we're getting in the catch can. So I'm going to pull the other side off, and this motor is going to have to be completely gone through because there is no telling what is done to this thing. If you look way down here at the bottom, you can see that weird color oil. That's what we were seeing coming out of the drain pan down there. So I've got to figure out exactly what is causing that. But this will be the end of that video. This is all I'll get done today, and hopefully I have an update in a day or two, what else I find.